Diva Design, your personal branding channel. This video is the first in my Design It Like series, where I teach you how to recreate the web pages of some of today's most popular influencers. Today I'm going to show you how to design a cosmetic company homepage like Rihanna's Fenty Beauty using WordPress and Elementor Pro. This video will cover setting up your WordPress pages and using Elementor Pro to create each section of the homepage, including the header, footer, sliders, and product images. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and like and share this video. Don't forget to click the bell to receive notifications for my newest content.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So as you see right now, we're looking at the WordPress dashboard. At the time of this recording, I am using WordPress 5.3.2 and I'm also running the Hello Elementor theme. If you would like to also follow along with the Hello Elementor theme, I'll show you how to download this theme. The Hello Elementor theme is a theme that was created by the Elementor page builder company, and it's a very basic theme, a very light theme that enables you to design very quickly and easily with Elementor without a whole lot of extra things built into the theme, because Elementor Pro is so robust that a lot of the elements that a regular theme would build into it, those are all created basically through the page builder itself. So if you would like to download the Hello Elementor theme, you can go to Appearance and Themes. That's if you have a single WordPress installation. If you have a multi-site installation like I have, you'll go up to My Sites, Network Admin, and Themes. Either way, you'll arrive at the same place. You will click on Add New. And it brings you up to the WordPress theme repository. Just type in hello. And hello theme pops up, the very first choice. Go ahead and click install. And then once you have clicked install, you can go ahead and click activate and you are good to go. So once you have Hello Elementor theme installed and activated, then you're going to need to also have Elementor activated as well. That's the plugin. So you will go to Plugins and then Add New. You will click on Add New. And then in the search box, go ahead and type in Elementor. And the Elementor free page builder will pop up. Go ahead and click install and activate. Okay, so another additional step for Elementor, because I'm using Elementor Pro, and you will want to, if you want to follow along with the full functionality of Elementor, then I highly encourage that you go ahead and purchase and download Elementor Pro. Here is the link that you can follow to the website. As full disclosure, this is an affiliate link, so I do receive a small commission if you choose to use this link to purchase Elementor Pro. If not, you can always just go to elementor.com and go ahead and download from there as well. Either way is fine. So once you get to Elementor, click on Pricing. You will scroll down here. They have 3 different options. Choose the option that works best for you. Go ahead and click Buy Now. And once you buy now, you will get the download link where you can download the plugin and then be able to upload and install it into your website. Once you've purchased Elementor Pro, to install, they have some really easy instructions. You can go here to the Help Center and to Knowledge Base. And there are 5 articles here under Installation. 'Installing Elementor Pro', 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 And the steps are here to show you how to install Elementor Pro into your WordPress installation. Now I'm going to assume that you've gone ahead and you've installed Elementor Pro, you have the Hello Elementor theme or the theme of your choice, and you are ready to get started. So let's do this thing. Alright, so we're back at the dashboard. We've got everything installed that we need right now. And let's go to Pages. So Pages, I already have my blog post page and my home page set up. If this is a new WordPress installation, most likely you're going to have the blog page already set up and you will have a sample page. If you have a sample page, all you have to do really is just click on Quick Edit, and you can rename sample page to home or the page name of your choice. Make sure you click Update. And then to make sure that this sets as the front page, you're going to go to your settings and let's go to reading. And on the reading settings, make sure that your home page is set to whatever that page it is that you're designating as your home page. Mine is home, and that your post page is designated to blog or whatever your post page happens to be. Actually, the post page is not really going to be necessary for this tutorial, so you can kind of ignore that completely, but just make sure that your page that you're going to be designing on is the home page, because that's going to be the front page of our design. And click Save Changes. Okay, let's go back to Pages. So we're going to go back to All Pages. And on Home Page, I'm going to click on Edit. And once this pulls up, you'll see what the home page is looking like here. I have the Gutenberg page editor set up here. Some people or some of you out there might have the classic editor. Either way, you're going to come here. And then you're going to see Edit with Elementor in the red box. So let's click that. Okay, so now we have our home page here in Elementor, in the Elementor page builder. And as you can see, it's pretty bare bones. There's nothing going on here. This info is just the info that was loaded into WordPress. And then these are just the two pages that just are showing up here on this basic navigation bar. Of course, when it's all said and done, our website is going to look very much very stylish, very built out, very gorgeous. So this is what we're having here. This is what we see here now. I'm going to pull up the Fenty Beauty website, and I just have it pulled up in Photoshop just because it's just easier for me to kind of get a view of it. And this is a screenshot of the homepage of the Fenty Beauty website. So most of these elements here we're going to incorporate into our own build out of our website, so or of our web page. So there's some different elements going on here that I really like. So at the very beginning we have, of course, the header and the navigation bar. We have this notification, like a site notification at the top, which actually is a pop-up. And we have a search bar. We have a slider with an image and a call to action button here. We have some products, so we'll be loading up some products as well. We have another very similar image with a call to action button, some more products, and again another image with call to action button. So you can see kind of how this website is structured, alternating between large images with call to action buttons and product as well that you can click on and get more information on. And then as you scroll down, we have some Instagram photos, and then we also have this footer at the very bottom. So we're going to be recreating many elements of this web page, and something that's not captured here on the Photoshop image is that there's also a pop-up on the live site. So actually, let's just go to the live site right now so we can see what that looks like. And I'm going to type that in, Fenty Beauty. So we're on the Fenty Beauty live website, and many of these same elements are right here that we were looking at in the Photoshop example screenshot. And even though the images here are a little bit different, I think they change it up a few, every few days. There's some elements here that are pretty much the same. So this call to action, or this store-wide announcement, is a pop-up that you can click and it disappears. She has some collapsing elements going on here with the header. We have a slider, so we'll incorporate the slider. We have a nice little call to action box here that we can incorporate, some products, and it kind of goes on. And it's something that you'll notice too that I really, really like. It has the scroll to top button. So if you click here, it scrolls the page right back up to the top so you don't have to use your mouse. We're going to be definitely incorporating a lot of these different elements here. So let's go ahead and go back to the static image that I have, and we're going to just kind of delineate what we have here. So excluding this bar right here, there's actually a pop-up we have. It looks like section 1 or 2 here, section 3. We have another section 4 with products, 5, 6, 7. So let's see if we can kind of build out some of these different sections. So let's go back to our Elementor page, and we're going to start adding some sections to this page. And that was the wrong button. Sorry, let me close out of that. Actually, I want to click on this plus sign first. And let's go ahead and just start adding. And I'm going to actually just duplicate this section 6 times. Okay, and one more. So now I have 7 sections. Actually, I lied about that. Let me delete one of them because one of those sections is the header, and we'll do the header and the footer in the next video. So right now, let's just build out some of these internal items of this kind of web page sandwich that we've got going on here. So as you can see here in this example, we have a lot of images. Now what I found interesting about this particular image here is that this is actually all one image. So let's just go back to the Fenty Beauty website, and we'll see here that this button right here is not an actual button. It really is just an image. In fact, this whole graphic here is one image that you can click on. So because of that, I decided when I created this particular graphic to mimic exactly what was done on the Fenty Beauty website, and I do have those actual images. So let's go ahead and start adding some images. I am going to find the widget here in the Elementor toolbar to see what it is that I would like to add, and I'm going to scroll through. And the widget that I would like to use actually is going to be the image carousel. So I'm going to use image carousel and plop that into that first section. And let's go ahead and add the images. So I'm going to click here in this little icon, and I'm going to pick these 2 images here, create new gallery, and insert the gallery. Okay, so we have this kind of thing going on here where it's repeating the images, and they're not the size, they're not the ratio that I actually created them in. So let's go ahead and change this image size to full. I want to show 1 picture per slide. We're going to leave this stretch image to a no. The arrows and dots, we're going to leave them as they, oh no, we're not actually. So the arrows are inside here. I like that they're inside. I think there's a nice contrast between the image in the background and the white arrow. So I'm going to leave that as is, and yes, I think I like the way that looks. Link. Now this is what you would definitely need to do, because the way that the Fenty Beauty website is, you would, if you had a product page that you wanted to link this to, then I would go ahead and add the custom link right here. And I think that'll do for now. Now let's go to style. And then we have a choice of where we would like these arrows to actually sit. Do we want the arrows to be inside or outside of the image? And let's see what it looks like on the outside. So this is what it looks like on the outside. I'm not too crazy about this personally, so I'm going to go ahead and switch them back to the inside. And then also here we have a choice to place the dots either inside or outside. And I'm going to place them on the inside. Now right now for this you can't see them very well because there's not enough contrast between the dot and the background image, but we're going to change that right now. And let's go on here to color, click on that, and I'm just simply going to select white. So we have white dots there. I think it looks pretty good. And then also let's just kind of bump up the size a little bit so that we can actually see these dots. Let's see, that was interesting. Let me just type in 10, see how big. That's a little bit on the big side. Let me just kind of bump it down a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. And let's look at the image border type. We're not going to have any kind of a border. The image is exactly the way I would like it to be. So we're going to leave that as is as well. Okay, now that we have this first slider set up the way we want, I think the easiest thing to do, instead of like going through all of those steps all over again, probably the easiest thing to do would be to just simply duplicate this particular section and then switch out the images. So I'm going to click here on duplicate section, which is going to create an exact replica of what we just created. And then what I'm going to do also is actually move it down because I want these sections to alternate and not be right next to each other. So we have this second section here. It's a duplicate from the one previous, and then I moved it down to have this section in the middle where we're going to fill in some products. But let me just go ahead and switch out these images. I'm going to click here. The images come up. We're going to click on, let's edit, and let's get some new pictures in there. So we're going to just delete these. Let's go to add to gallery to get some new images, and let's go ahead and click on, let's go with this one and this one, add to gallery. We're going to insert, and we have the exact same settings, so I don't have to do anything different, which is great. And then we're going to just repeat that same process. Let's duplicate. So we have the same exact section. I'm going to grab this little handle section right here and move it down so that there is another section for the products to go right here. And I'm going to click back on this image, go back to the image carousel gallery, edit that. Let's delete those. Let's add to gallery. And I'm going to choose my last two images, which will be this one and that one. And add to gallery. Insert. And now we have these nice new images. It looks so good. I love it. Okay, great. So now we have a little bit more of what's going on here. Now you can really see kind of what's happening. And our page is really starting to come together. Okay, so now we're going to add our products to this web page. So you see here, I have this blank section. I'm going to add some more sections to this section. So I'm going to add an inner section here, and let's add 2 more columns. So I have 4 columns total. So okay, great. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what I'm going to do is just to mimic what they're doing here. We have the image, we have a headline here, we have the name or the product, and then we have the price of the product, and then some of them over here have some ratings where people have left reviews. So we're going to try to mimic this very same thing, and to do that I am going to go to the Elementor widgets. Let's scroll down, and I think I'm going to use this image box. So let's go ahead and put this image box in here. So this is great because it gives me kind of all the information and the elements that I need. I think I'm going to add just one more element. Let's add a text editor on the bottom of that one. And then we're going to also add the star rating. So let me find that. There we go. Okay. Now let's go ahead and format this thing so it's looking like what I want it to look like. I'm going to choose the image, and I'm going to choose this very vibrant. Which one am I going to choose? Actually, let me think about it. Let me choose, I'm going to choose this one here. The Orchid Lipstick. And I'm going to adjust this image. See, it's already on full. Let's go to Style. We're going to make the width 100%. Okay, that looks good. All right, and let's go ahead and style some of this here. So, let's see, we can mimic this online exclusive. So I'm going to go back to the content, and we're going to just fill in the new header and a new description. So we'll just go ahead and just kind of mimic what we have on the actual website. Exclusive. And for the description, okay, so that's going to be our description. And actually, just to add a little bit more here, I'm going to go to my favorite lorem ipsum generator, and it's called Cupcake Ipsum. So if you ever want to find some really cool, just really cute placeholder text, then I love to come here to Cupcake Ipsum. Let's go ahead and copy and paste this. Actually, I don't need all of that, just maybe that's enough. And I'm going to paste it here after Creamy Orchid. Okay, that looks good. This section here really is just one line, so let me center that. Not sure why it's, okay, there we go. Really it's just one line there. Let me just see what we have. Right, that's the price. So let's just say that this is, I don't know, $55. Kind of expensive lipstick, but all right, that looks good. And then we're going to take this rating and let's go ahead and center that. Yeah, that's not too bad. Either way. So you can choose either one. If you want this outline effect for these stars that are not colored in, you can do that. If you want solid, then it colors them in solid. Of course, I'm sure you can like go through and we can change the colors of all this, and we'll do that in just a second. But let me just go ahead and format all of this first. So online exclusive, let's go back to that. We'll go back to style. Scroll down to content. Everything here looks really good. Let's maybe change this to just a black. I think that's fine. Typography, let's see what we have here. I actually like this type, but I think I would like for it to all be uppercase. So let's change that to uppercase. Let's go ahead and change the actual font size. Let's make it a little bit smaller. That's not too bad. Let's maybe go through and change, change the letter spacing. I always have to add a little bit of letter spacing. So maybe 0.5. Let's see what a 1 looks like. I think 1's even better. And then for this part, we are using a sans serif font, but I'm not crazy about whatever this font is in the description. So let's find something a little bit more fun. And let's see here. Let's go with Poppins. Okay, I like that a lot. And let's reduce the size a little bit. Maybe not quite that much. A little bit bigger. like that. That looks pretty good to me. This online exclusive, maybe you can make this a little bit bigger. Let's see what that looks like. I actually like that. Let's see about the weight. Maybe we can make this a little more bold. Does it have a bold? This does not seem to have any kind of weight change, which is interesting. So I'm just going to actually lower it back down to 14. And I think for this, I'm going to use the same styling for the price here. All right, so let's go here, pop-ins. Okay, and let's see, for the rating, I would like to see if we can change that. I think the size is fine. Let's see what we can do with the color. I kind of like going with this theme of this kind of like a maroon type of color. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to keep it just like this. One thing I am going to do is I am going to adjust the margin. So let's kind of bring that margin up a little bit. Let's see, I'm going to add 10 and then I'm going to add a negative sign to bump it up. Let's maybe do 3. Yeah, let's do 25. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, so now you can see that this is definitely coming along. So we have our products here with the little headline, with a description, the price, and a rating. So now what I'm going to do is, let me go ahead and actually delete these columns, and you'll see why I'm going to do this. I'm going to delete, and I'm going to delete. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate. So I'm going to duplicate this column 3 times. So I have the exact same styling for all 4 columns. Now what I'm going to do is go in and change out the lipsticks. So I'm going to add this eggplant lipstick instead. Let me go through. Let me choose this beautiful maroon lipstick. And all these graphics that I'm showing you right here, I created in Adobe Dimension. So if you'd like a tutorial on how to create product mockups in Adobe Dimension, I would be more than happy to show you guys how to do that. And I'm just going to go here and just change out the name of the lipstick. So this is an eggplant. And then this last one is dark rose. All right, I think that's looking really good. Now the last element here is that we're going to have to add this gradient in the background like we have here. This like really pretty peachy gradient for this section. So we're going to add something similar to this section. So I'm going to go up here, make sure that you're selecting the entire section, not just these intersections, but this one here. And we're going to go to Style, to Background Type, Gradient. And I kind of already had it pre-selected, a background color, but the top color is selected at white, and this bottom color here is actually this kind of like deep mauve color right there. I've reduced the opacity so it's not super deep. And then what we're going to do too is we're going to change the location so that should stay there. Let's change the location of this white section so that it kind of falls down and below right here. And this one you can just play with however you want to. Okay, so how all my lipsticks up on the site, and I did go back and clean up some of the text here. So I did a sans serif font for all of the text, for the description, the heading at the top, the description, and the price. And then I did add a heading here at the very top just to set off this section a little bit better. The font that I use is Poppins, and that is loaded up free on Elementor Pro or Elementor, and you can also find it in Google Fonts as well, because it's a free font for personal or commercial use. So now what I'm going to do is, let's just take a look back here at the Fenty website. And as you can see here, behind this image, behind this big image, there's a pattern, or there's like a little background image behind it. And so I want to do something similar. I want to add that background image to my images as well. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use this top portion here, and we're going to do the very same thing. So I'm going to go here to the top where it says Edit Section. I'm going to click on that. And it looks like it's already selected. I'm going to go to Advanced tab, which is already selected here. And let's just open this up. So I'm going to add some padding to the top so I can have a little extra space here, so that when I load in the background image, you'll actually be able to see it. So I'm just going to go to padding. Make sure that the link chain is deselected. So if it's dark, that means that all the padding positions here are linked together, and they will all change simultaneously if you change one. So we're going to unlink that, and I'm going to go to the top portion here, and let's just add 40 pixels of padding. Well, let's just see what that looks like. That looks pretty okay to me for right now, so we'll just stick with that. Now I want to add in the background picture, so I'm going to go to the Style section. And instead of using background, I'm actually going to use the background overlay, because I have a few more options here with the background overlay than just the background. And that's the way I want to use this today. So we're going to stay here on normal. Background type is going to be classic. And I'm going to select an image. So click there, choose image, and I'm going to select this image right here. And just see how that works out. Go ahead and insert media. And it's already kind of populated in there. So as you can see, this image does fill in, and it fills in the background, which is exactly what I wanted. The nice thing here is that I can play with the positioning of this. Now I have it set on bottom center, which is I think the right setting. I can choose default. Default, you see there, it kind of disappears, so that may not be what we want. And you basically just have to play around with it a little bit just to see what ends up working for you. And I think I really just liked the bottom center. This isn't bad either. I mean, I kind of like this too. So like I said, it really is just a matter of taste and what it is that you want. I'm going to leave it back at the bottom center. Let's just preview that and see what it looks like. I think that's pretty okay to me. I mean, I like that. So we're going to leave that there. The other thing that you can also play around with, which is why I chose the background overlays, you can play with opacity. So this selector right here, the slider, you can slide it back and forth to adjust the opacity of the image. So as it goes to the right, it's 100% opacity, and as you slide to the left, you get less opacity. So the more translucent it becomes. I think I like it right around here-ish. Yeah, that's not bad. You can also use the up and down arrows to get exactly what you want. And yeah, I just wanted a nice little texture in the background, nothing too dark, nothing too serious. I think that looks pretty good there. So that section is done. Let's move on to the next section. And I think we're going to try the same thing. So let's do that here. We're going to click here on Edit Section, go to Advanced, go to Padding, make sure that the link is broken so that only one area changes. I'm going to add that 40 pixels of padding. I'm going to go to Style, Background Overlay. We're going to select Classic, select the image, and go ahead and play around with the positioning. So let's do the bottom center again. I think I liked that one from before. I think everything else is pretty much set the way I want it to be. And I'm just going to go down here and change the opacity from 0.5 to 0.3. And there you have it. So that looks pretty good to me. Now we're going to go down to the next section. And I want to try something a little bit different. So we're going to do the same steps. Click on Edit Section, Advanced.
and break the link. Then we're going to go to Style, Background Overlay, select Classic. We're going to add the image, and this time I'm going to add a different image. I'm going to add this image here with the glitter. Insert. Okay, so this is going to need a little bit of adjusting. Let's see. I want the size to be contained. That looks pretty good. Let me just put it up. Yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted. So you can see now that the image shows up exactly the way I want it there. I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And again, like, you can just play around with all of these settings here to get the look that you want. You can also play with the opacity because it's at half opacity, so I could darken this up if I wanted it to be just really stand out and for the image to be at full opacity here. But I think I kind of like it at the 0.5. I think it looks pretty nice. But it's not overwhelming, and it does kind of fade into the background. And again, you can play with that however you want to play with it. You can make it as light or as dark, as prominent or as in the background as you want it to be. So I think I'm going to keep that like that, and that looks pretty good to me. Okay, so for the next section now, we're going to add in some more products. And let's go ahead and add those in after this image here. So I have an empty spot for these products to go. And I am pretty much going to follow the exact same formula that I did with the lipsticks. I'm going to duplicate this whole section. As you see there, it duplicated. And then I'm going to move this section below. And I'm going to delete this section so there's nothing there in between. Okay. We're going to add a couple of skincare products to this section here. Before I do that, actually, I'm going to go up here to Edit Section and back to Advanced. And I'm going to add some padding on the bottom as well. And the reason why is so that I can see a little bit more of this pattern here. So that's done. Now I'm going to go right here to this section. Let's go back up to the Elements, Widgets, and we're going to add an intersection to this main section here. So I've got 1, 2, and I think I'm going to just add 2 product images. We're going to add that one there. So the image widget, and then we're going to add a button widget as well, right underneath it. So we got a lot of things that we need to work on here for this. Let's actually just work on this button real quick. So we're going to click on this button. Let's center it. I'm going to change the text here to Shop Now. Let's make it a little bit bigger, make it medium size. Okay, now for style. Let's go ahead and change the typography here to Poppins that we've been using this entire time. So change that to Poppins. Let's transform that. Let's uppercase it. Letter spacing, I think we'll try 2. Let's see, for the actual font size, let's see what we can do. Let's make it a little bit smaller. Let's just get the reference here. That looks about right to me. We're going to keep that. Okay, and actually we're going to change the color there. Text color, let's change that to black. And let's change the background color to white. Then we're going to add a border. So let's do a solid border. Let's do 1 pixel width. And the border radius is set to 0 so that we have sharp corners. And that is looking pretty similar. What I think I also want to do is I believe I also would like to add some padding. I need to be on the edit button to adjust the padding here. So make sure that you're on edit button so you can adjust the padding for the button specifically here. And then you can change the values and get more of what we're looking for with this particular
style here. So I'm going to add a little bit more on the right and the left to see if we can get a little bit more there. And we might add just a tad bit more height. Maybe I'll add a 12 to the bottom and the top. That's kind of coming together. And let me just go and adjust this font and change the weight. So let's change that. Let's see that is normal. So let's change it to like a 300 and see what we get. That's not bad. It's a little bit light. I think 400 is about right. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, that looks good. The other thing I want to do also with this button is I need to move it so that it overlaps the bottom portion of this image. So make sure that this is selected. We're going to go to Advanced and we're going to go to Margin. So make sure that you deselect and we're going to change this margin to about 50. And then I'm going to add the negative sign. For some reason, for me, I cannot add the negative sign and then do the number. I have to add the number and then add the negative sign. And that seems to work well for me. That's just how it works for me when I use Elementor. I'm not really sure why that is. Maybe it's just like a little bit of a bug. I'm not really sure what it is, but that's the way I kind of get that done. Okay, so now we have the button that's overlapping the image, and then we just need to select the image. So let me go ahead and select the image. And there is the skincare image. So that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And then what I'm going to do again is let me just delete this column. And I'm going to duplicate this column. There we go. And I'm going to switch out this image. So let me choose a different image, which is kind of like the same image, but it's a different view. But we're just going to put that one in there. And then you can just play around with this a little bit. If you want to play with the column, you can play with the column, make it a little bit wider so they're not like right smack next to each other. One thing I want to check is I want to check this button. So let's go ahead and go back. So you see how the button here, when you hover over it, it changes. Let's do the same thing. So I'm going to go back to my editing page here from Elementor. And for the button, we're going to change this up a little bit. We're just going to add like a hover animation. So I'm going to click here on hover. And the text color, we want it to be opposite. So the button's going to be black and the text is going to be white. So for text color, I'm going to choose white. For background, we're going to choose black. And I believe the border, we're just going to keep it the same. So let's just see what happens when I hover over. That looks exactly the way I want it to look. I'm not even going to mess with the border color. And we're just going to repeat that same thing with this button. Now, of course, if I had thought about it earlier, I would have made the changes on this one and then duplicated it. But just for the sake of it, it's always kind of good to see how you can do it the other way as well. So now we've got that working. And that looks great. Let's click Update. And let's get another preview of that. Now that we have the sections of our web page completed, I want to go ahead and start working on the header. So as you can see here, this header is just the Hello theme header and just nothing special about it. Obviously, we want to make it stylish. We want to make it look very similar to the Fenty Beauty header. So I'm actually going to go to the Pages section of WordPress. We're going to add some pages, because we're going to need to add a shop page and some additional pages here. And we're going to add the search. We're going to add like an account button here for people to access their account, and then a view cart button as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go actually here to the pages, and we already have the blog page, and then we also have the home page, which we've been working on. So let's just add, let's say, 4 more pages. These pages can be anything that you want them to be, and really they don't have to be anything super special. We're just doing this to go ahead and fill out the header. So I'm just going to create some pages. So let's create a new page here, And I am going to call this About, because almost every website has an About page. So let's add that in and let's publish it. Now let's go back. Let's add another new page. Let's say we'll do something like a gallery, and we'll hit publish on that. So let's look at our pages now. So far we have these 4 pages. The only thing we're missing is a shop page. And you could go ahead and just create a page and call it shop, but I'm going to go and add WooCommerce so that we can add in all of the necessary pages that you would want to have for an online shop. So to add the WooCommerce plugin, you're going to go to Plugins and then add New if you have a single WordPress installation. If you have a multi-site, then you would go to My Sites, Network Admin, Plugins, and then we're going to all end up at the same place and add New. And then you're going to type in WooCommerce. WooCommerce will be the first, it'll be the first result to show up, and then you're going to click Install Now. Now I already have it installed, so I'm just going to go back to my dashboard, back to Plugins. And I'm going to find WooCommerce and then go ahead and install it. And I'm also going to install this as well. It's called WooCommerce Menu Cart, and it places a menu cart icon on your header. So I'm going to activate both of those for now. Okay, so those are set up. So I'm going to run this setup wizard so that we can get the shop and the corresponding pages added.
So right now you can see me installing WooCommerce into the website, and the reason why I'm installing WooCommerce is so that it can automatically add those shop pages to the website, because some of those pages we'll be using in the navigation, which will be in the header. So I'm just going to speed through this portion right here, and you can just kind of get a quick overview on how to install WooCommerce for your own website. If you want to skip ahead, that's no problem. Otherwise, you can just kind of get, like I said, a quick overview. And it looks like here I installed Jetpack by accident, which I did not want to do. Jetpack is not something I wanted to have on this website, and in general, I just don't really recommend it on any WordPress website. So right now you can see I am deactivating and uninstalling Jetpack so that it won't run on this website.
If you see now at a glance, you'll see that I have 8 pages, and that is because WooCommerce added a cart page, a checkout page, a My Account page, and a shop page. So I really just wanted that shop page so that we can have that on the header. Now I'm going to go ahead and make a menu. So we're going to go to Appearance and Menus. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add some of these other things in. So let's add shop page, obviously, gallery. Let's add About. Well, let's add My Account as well. And then here at the menu, we can do some rearranging. So I think I'm going to have shop actually come up here. Home. Actually, I think I am going to remove this. Let's move gallery up. Let's move blog up. Let's move about. And then we'll have account last. And then let me add checkout and cart. And I'm going to put those under account for now. I'm going to save this menu as main menu. Okay, now that that menu has been saved, I'm going to create the custom header. So I will go under Elementor and go right down to templates, and then we're going to go to theme builder. In theme builder, I'm going to just select header, the header tab, and then I'm going to click add new header. We can just call this main header. Now Elementor will give you all kinds of different templates that you can start out with to help you design your header. And it's possible that we could use a few of these, but I think we're just going to start from scratch. I think that's just the easiest way to go about things personally. So I'm going to skip this, click the X, and we're just going to draw out this new header from scratch. So I'm going to add a new section. We're going to choose the one column section. I want to make sure that this one column is full width, so I'm going to select full width here to the side. And we are going to add, the navigation menu. So let's go ahead and drag that widget right inside. And you can see here that we have this menu here. And these are all the pages that we just added to the website and created in the menu. I'm going to add an intersection and put that on top. And then I'm going to delete one of these columns. It's kind of hard to get to. There it is. And delete it. So we just have one column here at the top. So just going back and looking at Fenty Beauty. Okay, so we have the logo here and then the actual navigation bar. So here will go the logo. Her logo is a type logo, so we can actually just use the heading widget for that very purpose. And for the navigation, we also want this centered as well, so I'm just going to move that to the center. Then I'm also going to add another heading underneath that first heading and center that. So now I've got my three sections here within the header. There's the logo right here, and then this part, the navigation. I need to add an intersection. So I'm going to add another intersection where I have two columns. And I'm going to move this section over into one of these intersections. And let's just make sure it lets me move it. Okay, it's being stubborn. There we go. There it wants to go there. And then in this section, this is where we're going to have like our search box and some different icons. So let me go and plop in the search form. Actually, let me not do that yet. Let me add another column. And then we'll add the search box here. We'll add a menu cart here. I'm going to add an icon there. And I was going to say another tip with Elementor, if you can't find the icon widget, then you can always do a search. So that didn't go where I wanted to. I'm going to add another column, and we're going to drop this icon here into this column. Okay, now this looks like a complete mess right now, but believe me, when it's all said and done, it's going to look absolutely amazing. Now that we have our basic elements up here for our header, now let's go ahead and get to styling this header. So I'm going to pick the same font that I've been using for a little bit, and that's Poppins. So I'm going to go ahead and place my logo type here, and it's just something I'm making up. You can put in whatever it is that you want to put in. All right, now that that's typed in there, let's change the color to black. Let's change the typography. So I'm going to go back and use Poppins. Let's do a normal weight for now. We'll do all uppercase. Letter spacing, let's do 2. And let's go super small. Maybe not that small. Let's go to maybe, that's about pretty good. Full skin, that looks about right to me. And the weight, let's make it a bit of a heavy weight so that it really kind of stands out. And now that let's scoot that down. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to copy the styling by right-clicking on Beautiful. And I'm going to place my cursor by Crystal L and then paste style. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I want to move these 2 lines closer together. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this one here by Crystal L, go to Advanced, and we're going to play around with the margin. So let's unlink that and let's decrease the top margin. Let's go 20, and then we're going to add a little minus sign there so it pops up. That looks pretty good to me. And I think actually I might change the weight of Crystal L so that there's some contrast. And let's change it from 600 to 400. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to actually just leave that for right now. I'm going to try to do the same styling for the actual navigation menu. So I'm going to select, right click and copy, and let's see if it'll let me right click and paste style. Not quite. I think the only thing it did was that it changed the padding, so that's not going to work. I'll have to just go here and just style this manually. So that's fine. We're going to keep this placed in the middle. We're going to go to Style, stay on Normal. Text color is going to be black. Typography will be Poppins. Size is 13. Weight, let's make it 300. Oh, I'm sorry, let's make it 400. Transform to uppercase. And we will give it a little bit of space there. Well, that might be a little too much space with the letter spacing. But then what we can also do is for the spacing between the actual words, the horizontal padding, we can change that up as well. So let's see, something like that. But we're not done yet because we still have a lot of formatting we need to do. So let's look at this search. Okay. So what I'm going to do now then, I think I'm going to go ahead and just do this. I colored it in black so that you guys could see what I was doing. But I'm actually going to have to turn this text color to white. So let me go ahead and turn that text color to white. There's an underline on the hover, and I want that underline to not be there. So I'm going to take this off, turn that to none. Okay, same thing for Beautiful Skin. Let's change the color to white, and then we're going to also change the color of Crystal L to white as well. And then we're going to come up here to Edit Section, this entire section, and we are going to change this background color to black. All right. So now it's looking a little bit closer to what it is that we had before. I'm going to go back to this navigation style and change the weight to 600 to match Beautiful Skin. Okay, that's looking okay to me. Now we need to work on the spacing and the spacing and orientation of these particular sections. So you can see here in Fenty Beauty that the navigation is smack in the middle, and then you have this area on the side that's basically in the last fourth or last quarter of the header. I am actually going to add another column. And I'm going to add one more column. Actually, I'm going to have to add another one. And I'm going to move this to the center section here. Let's delete this column. And I'm going to have to scooch everything over. Scooch this one over. I'm going to scooch this way over. And I'm going to scooch this search box way, way, way over. So basically what we want to have is that we want to have this middle section completely centered, and then these two sections on the side to be equal. So for the account, found the user icon in the icon library. So if you just, I already have it selected, but if you just type in user, you'll find it. And then there's like all these different kinds of users. Actually, now that I see all these different kinds of users, let's use this one instead. I think I like this one better. And we're going to change the color to white so that stands out. And we're going to change the size. So let's make it pretty small. That's too small. Let's go to maybe 16. Let's see, maybe 24. That's not too bad. Okay, and now let's work on the search box.
So I've chosen the classic skin for the search box. And I'm working on the icon right now and changing it to or making sure that it's on the magnifying glass icon. And now I'm just playing around with the size to just mimic the size of the search box on the Fenty Beauty website. And for the button, I want to make sure that the background is black, that the icon is white, and for the input, I'm going to make sure that the background is black, and I'm also just taking down the opacity. Now I'm just playing around with the placement and alignment to make sure everything is just about right.
Also, something to be aware of too is that we want everything to be aligned together. So let me see if I can get that vertical alignment in the center. I'm sorry, the horizontal line, but that doesn't seem to be really working either. So actually you have to change the vertical alignment. So we'll change that vertical alignment to middle. Let's make sure that the cart is also vertically aligned to the middle. That's okay. And then make sure this navigation is also vertically aligned. And it looks like that is. So that's looking not too shabby right now. Let's take out this bubble, that little red bubble right there. So if you leave it there, there's a red bubble that indicates how many items are in your cart. Or you can do plain. I just assume let's just not do anything and just leave it there for now. Let's see, cart medium. So I think we want to actually do a bag, which I think is really cute. So Fenty Beauty has a little bag here. So let's do something similar. I like that. We'll do bag. Let's see, maybe bag solid. That can work. All right, I think I want this bag to be white, which would be great. So let's do icon color white. And we can increase the size here as well with the slider. So let's slide that up a little bit. And that's looking not too bad. Okay, so let's just take a little quick look and see what this is looking like. So it's not looking too bad. I think we definitely want to tighten it up a little bit. So I'm going to pull this whole section up a little bit so it falls right underneath the title. And I'm just going to do a little bit of fixing here before I do that, a crystal L. And we're going to make it a little bit smaller. Let's pull the weight down to 300. And I'm also would like to adjust the margin. So instead of a -20, let's try a -10. Now for this section, let's bring up the margin. So we will do a negative margin, and then we'll add the negative. So that pulls it up a little bit. Let me pull it up a little bit more, see how that does. Okay, that's not bad. It's definitely getting there. Let's mess around a little bit with this weight. I think I'm bringing it down to 500. And I want to increase the spacing between the letters. Let's try for a 2.5, see how that does. Let's bring that weight down one more time. And I think what I'd like to do, the spacing looks pretty good to me, but I think what I want to do is I would like to increase the horizontal padding. Okay, that's coming together a little bit more for me. And I think I can go back and maybe bring the line spacing back down to a 2. Okay, so this is definitely coming together. I think I want to bring up the margin of this section and pull it in just slightly if I can. So let's bring that margin in a negative, let's see if we try a -20. Let's try a -10 instead. Okay, that's not too bad. It's coming together. I just want to tweak this beautiful skin. And let's make it a little bit bigger. And let's bring the weight down to about 400. And now let's increase the line spacing to a 3. And that's looking a little bit better to me. And actually we could go even further with the line spacing. And maybe let's increase it to a 5, just so we can get a really nice spaced out look there. And then same thing for the other header by Crystal L. Let's just increase that by 2.5. So I really think this header is coming along. Only thing now is to kind of just adjust these little column sections here. And for this account image, I think what we'll need to do with that one is we'll need to just adjust the size a little bit. Okay, that pulls it in just a little bit. And same thing with this cart. And let's bring down the icon size just a tad bit for the cart. So now I want to bring this column in even a little bit more. Let's see, the cart column width is 6, so let's just make it a 6.022. Let's just make it an even 6. And let's do the same thing for the account icon. And we'll just make that an even 6. So I'm going to add a link here to this icon, the My Account icon. And how you would do that is you click on the edit icon, and that will come up here in the sidebar. And then where it says link, you can simply type or paste your link right there. And then if you go here to this gear setting, it gives you some different options of how you would like that link to function. You can open it in a new window, or you can add a no follow. I'm not going to choose any of them. I'm just going to leave it as is, and I'm just going to save as. And also, as you can see here with the view cart here, once you click on it, anything that is added to the cart will show up here. So if you had something that you've already had clicked on and you wanted to add to the cart, then when you click on that view cart icon, then your cart contents will be right here in this sidebar. And of course, you can click here to exit out of that. Okay, even though I'm not completely done with this header, it's pretty much looking the way I want it to look right now. So I'm going to go ahead and hit publish. Once you hit publish on this type of template, whether it's a header template or a footer template, you're going to need to add conditions. So you click here on add condition. And the condition is, yes, this header will work for the entire site. So I am going to leave this as is and save and close. Now that that's saved and closed out, this header will be applied to every page in the website. So let's go ahead and take a look at that by clicking this preview icon. So that's right there, previewing the header. And I'm going to go back just really quickly. And I'm going to make sure that these two items here are actually hyperlinked to the home page. So I'm going to click here on edit. And let's make sure that actually pops up. There we go. Edit the heading. And we want to make sure that the URL is going to, or that this text here is going to point to the home page. And then the same thing with Crystal L. That's going to also go to the home page. I'm just going to delete that out. And we're going to click update. So now we can go back here. This should be updated. So now when I hover over Beautiful Skin, there is a hyperlink there. I'm going to click on it. And now we have our header applied to the website. And this is looking pretty good. Okay, so we're still not done. We still have some other things that we need to do. The cart here has a curious border around it. I'm not sure how that happened, but let's take that off. So we're going to edit this menu here. We're going to edit border radius, border width. There shouldn't be any kind of border at all. So I'm not sure why that's there, but let's see if we can get rid of that completely. And I just did that by taking this slider and sliding it all the way down. Okay, and I'm just going to hit clear just for good measure to see what happens. Now that's really interesting. Okay. Let's update that and see if that fixed that issue right there. Okay, it looks like it fixed that issue. Okay, that looks like that's taking care of that situation right there. Now, something else I definitely want to look at one more time is I want to look at the spacing of all of these items here. So it looks like they're just a tad bit on the wonky side, and we want to fix that as much as possible. So maybe go to advanced here. And I might have to add a little bit of margin just to make sure that this is exactly where I want it to be. That looks a little bit better. One last thing that I really want to do is I want to create the sticky header. So another part to this is that you're going to click this full section here. So you're going to go to Edit Section, Advanced Motion Effects, and we're going to choose a sticky header at the top. Let's just make this for desktop right now. So I'm going to remove mobile and tablet and make this just available, just an available feature on the desktop. Click Update. And I'm going to scroll back. And let's see if this works. Yes. So now we have our sticky header that is stuck to the top of the page. Okay, so I wanted to make a little tweak to the search function on the header. So if you notice here, if you click here in the search and you just type something out, you can see like the type is actually pretty hard to see. So I need to fix that. I'm going to go into Elementor. So I'm logged into my site. I'm going to click on Edit in Elementor. And I'm going to click here on Edit Header. All right, so now I'm gonna just place my cursor here on the search box so we can go ahead and fix this. So I'm gonna go to Style, and let's go here to Text Color. All I want to change here is the text color, so I'm going to select the white here. I think I can test it out and see. Yes, so that fixed that situation. So now when we type into this search box, we can actually see what we are searching for. Okay, so now that we have completed the header for now, let's take a look at the footer. So I'm just looking at the front part of my website right now. I'm actually in Elementor, and you can see here, because there's no footer, it just stops at these last two products. So let's take a look at the Fenty Beauty website, and we can see here that this website has actually quite a large footer. In fact, the footer is practically the size of my screen. As you can see here, this is really just a plain black block here with an image in the background, and then we have some form fields on top with some text and some social media icons with some more text, and then it looks like we have a menu here at the bottom. So let's go about going ahead and creating this. So I want to create this graphic with the black background, and this text here on the bottom is very stylized. It looks like probably handwritten or hand-drawn. And we can create something similar. So I think I'm going to create this in InDesign, and what I'll do is I'll just create this image with the black background, and we'll find some really nice handwritten font to lay on top and give it that kind of very authentic, very raw feel that we have here on the Fenty Beauty website. Okay, so I have InDesign open here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new document, and I'm going to set the custom dimensions here. So I believe I had, let's just go 1600, and we're going to go by 960 in depth. And you can always change this if this ends up being too big or too small. And I'm going to go ahead and create. Okay, looks like everything's loaded up all right. So I'm going to go here to the rectangle tool and draw out a rectangle. Let me select black. And I'm going to draw this rectangle out all the way to the bleed. Even though this is not a print document, so the bleed really isn't necessary, but I just have it on there because I think it was already in the settings. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as, we're just going to call it footer. Footer image. Okay, and the next thing to do is to, let's see, I'm going to take out the text tool and draw out some text here, and I'm just going to go by the little makeup name that I picked for this website, which is Skin by Crystal L. I know you can't see that right now, but I'm going to make that larger so you can see it. And let's go ahead and make that about 30. It could be even bigger than that, 72. Let's go maybe 150. That looks pretty okay. And we're going to make this white. So I'm going to go here to the text, click on paper. Let's fix that typo there. I think I do want this probably on the bottom. Let's see, I'm probably going to play around with this. Let me actually remove that. So I just cut that out. And I'm going to repaste it. Let me take out the hyphen. All right, so we'll hyphenate. All right, that looks pretty good. And now the fun part is finding some fonts to work with this graphic. Okay, so I settled on this font called Bitter Mind, and it's a font that's free for commercial use. So if you just type in Bitter Mind font in Google, you will find it. And yeah, I just settled on these. And remember, like, this is going to be in the background, so they don't have to be like super prominent. It just needs to be something that will go in the background. So I'm going to select both of those. I'm going to just rotate them a little bit here. And that might end up being a little bit too big. So for these, let me see here. I think I'm going to move them up a little bit here. And I can probably move this back just slightly, because remember, you're going to have a form, you're going to have form fields going across the middle. So we don't want these to be too big. I think I'm going to shrink it down just a tad bit. Okay. And I think I'm also going to reselect these again, kind of ease up on the angle just a tad bit, so it's not quite so slanted. All right, it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna bump it up a little bit. So to give this text kind of the effect that you saw on the Fenty Beauty website, where, let me just go to that for a reference, we can see there's like some feathering and some fading, almost like a blurred motion. In a way, it almost looks like maybe like a spray paint, but I want to create something similar in effect, not exact, but something similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to the FX panel, and I'm going to click here on Outer Glow. And it's already on preview, so you can see like there is a little bit of an effect already added. If I just click off preview, then you can see the difference. I'm going to increase the size of this, let's see, to 20 pixels. And let's increase the spread a little bit. I'm going to use this slider to see if that will kind of give a little more of an effect. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. Let's add a little bit of noise. Let's do about 3% noise on that. Okay, that's not too bad. I think I might back off just a little bit on the spread. Maybe I'll go down to a 4. Let's see if that does anything. I think I need to go down in size just a tad bit. Okay, I think I'm pretty okay with that. So let's leave it like that. I'm going to click OK. And that's basically it for this portion. I'm going to go ahead and export this as a JPEG. So I'll go to File, Export, and it's already set there to JPEG. Let's hit Save. And this looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to leave the settings as is and export. Okay, now that that's been saved, let's go back to the actual demo website. And I'm going to go to the WordPress dashboard. Let me go to Media, Add New, because I want to add this new image I just created. And where is it? Right here, footer image. Go ahead and open. All right, great. That's been uploaded. So now I'm going to go to Elementor, and let's go to Templates and Theme Builder. Now we're going to add a new footer. So I'm going to click on the footer tab, add new footer. Let's just name this main footer. And create template. I am not going to use any of the examples that they have here, so I'm just going to click out of the X, and let's go here to the plus side. We're going to add a new section, one column. Let's add an intersection first. And then I'm going to go here to this main section. Actually, before I do that, let's click on that and let's make sure that this is full width. I'm going to click here again on edit section, go to style, and then background. We'll click on classic and choose image. So now I'm going to choose that image that I just uploaded and insert it. Alright, so you can see here that this is not the full height of the image. So let's go back to, let's go to size, which is default, but let's choose cover instead. And then let's go back to layout, and for height, we're going to set a minimum height of 960. All right, that's looking pretty good to me. All right, yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, as you can see here, the text is actually quite large, and it's a little bit larger than I want. So I might have to go back and resize the text here so it doesn't take up so much space on the footer. Yeah, as you can see here, we just definitely don't want to go over a third. So let me go back and fix this up. Okay, so I re-uploaded this image and I made sure that the type is a little bit more on the left third of the screen and moved up close to the top of the section. So that part is pretty much done. And you can also just play around with this in Elementor as well. You can play with the position. So I have it on default, but you can try different positions to see what works best for your graphic that you may be uploading. So you can see this one's kind of like off the screen a little bit, so it's a little bit weird. It is several different things that you can kind of play around with. I'm going to keep it at the default, which I think is exactly where I want this to be, and go from there. So, looking at the Fenty Beauty website, as you can see here, there's really a section of text and some form fields that run down the middle of the page. So, we're going to do the same type of thing here. I have my section and my intersection there. I'm going to drag the heading widget into this intersection. And all this is going to be styled up in just a second, but I'm just going to get all the sections that I need kind of placed first and then go into styling it. Let's add the text editor on the bottom of that. Let's go back. Now we have two form fields, so we're going to need to add the form fields. So let's add that form field there. And I'm going to delete this field here. I'm going to delete this button, but let me see here. Oops. Okay, so you can see here that you're going to enter your information here where the placeholder text is, and then the button is actually off to the side. So we want to do the same type of thing. So basically on this website, they're giving you choices, whether you want to enter your email address or your phone, which I'm guessing would be a mobile phone so that you can receive text messages. So we'll try to replicate that same thing. I'm going to, let's see, delete the name here, and then we're just going to leave email and this button. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to set it so that both of them are at 50%. Or actually, let's do, maybe we'll do email at 75%. And then we'll do this button here at 25. So let me just go down, scroll down to the button, and we're going to pick 25. Okay, that looks pretty good. We can work with that. I might actually make it even smaller and do 20. And this email form, maybe let's make that 80. So I'll make that into 80%. Okay, that looks pretty good. And we're going to get rid of this label at the top. So we're just going to hit this button here, that slider that hides the label so that email is no longer shown. Let's go ahead and style this up first, and then we can hit duplicate and then change the values as needed. But before we do that, let's go back here. There's some more text. So I'm going to add another text box. Let's see, I'm trying to duplicate this one. There we go. And let's drag that underneath. See if it'll go right underneath this form. It doesn't seem to want to go, there we go, right underneath the form field. And now we're going to get the social media icons. Just gotta find them. Sometimes it is hard to find stuff in Elementor, and they add so many elements that it gets a little bit difficult to find. So sometimes you can just go right here to this search box and then search for what you're looking for, and you'll find what you're looking for that way. So that works. And we'll just put some social media here. We can add a few more and change it later. Okay, so this is kind of like the skeleton what we're working with. It looks like we have just a little more text here. And then we have what looks like a menu. So let's go back. I'm going to add another section for text and slide that right underneath social media buttons. Okay, now we can get to styling this up and making it look halfway decent. So before I do that, I just want to move that out of the way so you can see. Let's see, before we do that, let's go ahead and edit this intersection, and I want to increase the margins on each side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to this column here where it says edit column, click on that, and then go to advanced, and now we can play with the margins. I'm going to click on the link to break the link, and then I'm going to add some values in on each side to bring that section in. And it looks like you're going to have to do a lot of it. So let's go 200, 200. That's getting there. Let's go maybe 250. Okay, that's getting closer. Let's go in way more. Let's try 500. That might be a little too much. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. So as you can see, as you play around with this, you know, it gets a little more squeezed, but when we expand and see the preview, you can see that this is looking pretty good. So even though the editing looks kind of crazy, once you hit preview or once you hit the once you hide the toolbar, you'll see the genuine width of that column, and it looks pretty good. So now let's go ahead and start styling this text and the form fields. So as usual, I'm going to go back to my pop-ins and go to Style, Typography. Let's go to pop-ins. That looks good. Let's do, the weight looks pretty good. I'll just do a default here. Let's do uppercase. Let's make sure that it's white. And let's have it centered. And we'll just start to follow suit with the rest. So here, for the text here, I'm going to make that white. Make sure it's centered. Oops. And we really only need just about one line of text here. So I'm going to delete some of that. And then let's go ahead and change the size of the text. It looks pretty good to me, maybe a little bit bigger. Let's go back up to this text here, and we can maybe add a little bit of spacing between the letters. Let's go for 2. That looks pretty good to me. And let's adjust the size of this text. It's a little bit too small. All right. I think I want to add a little bit of spacing to the small text underneath. Let's add, that's a little bit too much. Let's just do 1, okay. And we're going to bring it up just a little bit. So I'm going to go to Advanced, Margin, make sure you unlink. I'm going to hit a value, let's do 10, and let's add a minus to that to bring it up just a tad bit. And I think I'm going to bring it up just a little bit more. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, so for this text here, I want to copy the attributes of this text. So I just right click and then I hit copy. And I'm going to apply the attributes of that text styling to this box here. And let's do the same thing on this other box. And paste that style in. Only thing I'm going to do differently here is I'm going to hit this text editor, go back to Advanced, and then hit 0 for margin. So we can just reset it to just to having no margin. All right. All right, that's coming along. Now let's go ahead and style up these forms right here. So if you notice here, the form is black and it has a white border going around it, mimicking the buttons that you've seen on different sections of this website. So we're going to do that same type of thing. Let's go ahead and change this text, and let's go to the field. Text color is going to be white, so it's going to disappear for a minute. Typography, we're going to stick with Poppins. And let's go ahead and change the background color just so we can see what we're doing here. So I'm going to change that background to black. And that for some reason did not seem to want to update. So let's see what else we can do here. Okay, there we go. All right, now we can go back to typography and really see what we're doing. So for weight, I think the weight is actually pretty okay. So I'm going to stick with whatever weight that is. Let's go to uppercase. And then let's actually decrease the size just a little bit. So let's go down maybe to, that's a little bit too small. Maybe 14. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to go back really quickly to content, and I'm going to add, for placeholder, let's add address. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to style. Actually, let me just add that extra S back in. All right. Then I'm going to go back to style and just work a little bit more on this typography. All right, so now let's go ahead and style this button. We're going to set the background color to black. We want the same text style, so I'm going to go to Poppins. It was 14. Let's do 400, uppercase. And we'll do a line spacing of 2. So what I want to do here for the field is I want to make sure that there is no border on this field. So let's remove this border width and see if we can make it into 0. Okay. Okay, that removes the border width around just the field. But if you look at the Fenty Beauty website, there's a border going around the entire section of that field. So let's see if we can get that done. So I'm going to hit this button here on the field, and let's go to Advanced and Border, and let's do a 1 border radius. Make sure you hit Solid, and we're going to make the color white. Now that came out very dark, so let's try maybe a 0.5 and see if we can get that a little bit up. I'm sorry, that's actually wrong. Border radius should be 0. The width should be a 1. And that's still kind of thick to me, so actually I think I'm going to do a 0.5 on that. Alright, let's just check and see what that looks like. Okay, that's looking interesting. Looks like there's a little bit of cutoff here, so let's make sure that everything is where it should be. Okay, so I was having some issues with the border around the fields looking correct and looking right. And what I figured is that the width was actually just too small. So I increased the width back to a 1, and that seemed to have solved that problem. Because I was messing around with different things, I set the margin for this little section right here back to 0, but I'm going to go back and set it back to what it was before, which I believe was a -10, just to place it a little bit closer to that top heading. Let's see what that looks like. That's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. So what I did is, you notice I have 2 form sections here. All I did to create the section, the second form field, was to hit duplicate. So that will create an exact replica of the field that you had just styled. I only need 2 of them, so I'm just going to delete 1. And then for this second one, I'm going to go back in and change email to, I believe it's to phone number. And I believe that's on here somewhere. Now I can't find it, but that's okay. And we're just going to change it to, the label doesn't really matter since the label's not showing, but we're going to change this to phone number. And let me just double check and make sure that there actually is, there we go, telephone. So telephone there, and that will help to format that text specifically for a phone. Okay, that's looking pretty good to me. Now the only other thing is that this has like a little icon next to it, so we're going to see if I can add that little icon in there as well. And for that, I'm going to need to go back to the form itself. There it is. So you have to go back to Content, Submit button, and then click on the plus sign under Icon, and that will bring up any the icons list. So if you wanted to add an icon to the Submit button, you can do that. And I'm going to add the arrow right. Let's insert that. And I want to place that icon after send. So I'm just going to do the same thing here with this form field, submit button, icon library, I'm going to type in arrow so I can find it quickly. There we go. Insert that one and change it to place after. And that looks pretty good to me. There we go. So this is really shaping up and really nice, looking pretty nice. Let's go ahead and fix up these social media buttons here. So these are all basically either filled in or outlined in white, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. So I'm going to, first of all, just click on this little area. Of course, any of these buttons, they can be whatever you want them to be. Let's see. Let's pick something besides YouTube, since I already have that up there. And let me get a list of some different icons that we can use here. And I don't know what's going on. I am having so much trouble with my mouse lately. It's just not working right. I don't know what the problem is, but I probably just need to get a new one. So let's see, here we have YouTube, and I want to do a different one. So I guess I'm going to have to just click in here. There we go. And that brings up all the social media, different logos. And let's do LinkedIn. Why not? Let's put that in there. Let's insert that. Let's go down here to this one. Let's do Instagram, of course. You can find it. I'll just type it in. There we go. Let's see, we have another YouTube. Let's change, oh, let's keep that one YouTube. And then this last one here. Let's see. Why don't we do Pinterest? That's probably a good one. All right. So I want to style all of these buttons exactly the same. So I'm going to go to Style, and then under Color, let's do Custom Color. Primary color will be black. Secondary color will be white, and that looks pretty good. And there's other, there's other options as well for the social media icons. You can make them rounded, you can make them circle, you can make them square, but in this case, because of the way that I have the settings and because the outline is black, it doesn't matter really which one of these shapes that you use. So I'm just going to keep it the way it is here. I really like that. In fact, I'm pretty good with that. So let's go ahead and just make sure I save this. And of course here, you have some more text. This is wherever you want to do with it. So you can go and you can fill in any kind of text that you want here on the bottom that you like. I just want to do a little bit of fixing here. Let's move this margin down on the text just a little bit. Let's move it down 10, just a little bit. And then let's move the margin of these social icons. Let's move them up. So I'm going to hit a 20 on that one. Oops. Let me, I forgot to unlink it. So I'm going to unlink. Let me hit a 20. And then I'm going to set a negative sign in front of that to pull it up. And I guess we can keep going. Let's pull it up, pull it up, pull it up real close. Okay. That looks pretty good. Now this part here, just to mimic the amount of text that is in the Fenty Beauty, I'm going to go to my favorite, Cupcake Ipsum, and pull together some dummy text. So I'm going to hit long, just one paragraph. I'm going to hit generate and copy and paste that right into Elementor. Okay, it looks like I lost the styling, so I'm going to come here to this text box above it.
let's copy it, and then I'm going to paste the styling down here. And that should work, but it doesn't seem to be working. Okay, so I found out why that wasn't working. I needed to go back to the actual text editor, and instead of under visual, go under text, and make sure that if you did the same thing I did, and you copied and pasted from a web page, it probably copied and pasted a lot of coding, and that's why it was coming out really crazy looking, because it was copying and pasting the coding directly from the web page I got it from. So I basically just deleted everything and then went back in and pasted it back in, and it came out just fine. So that is looking pretty good to me. We are almost done. And the last little bit would be add a menu here on the bottom. Okay, well, we're almost to the finish line with this footer. So as you can see right here, I've added a little bit more to this graphic. I had like a little paint splash just to give the footer a little more pizzazz, a little more something else to look at. And then I also added this copyright information here on the bottom, and I just simply use the text edit widget, and then I added 50 pixels of margin at the top just to give it a little bit of space. Now the last portion that I want to add would be the menu. So if you see here on the Fenty Beauty website, there is a menu here at the bottom. Now I am not going to recreate a menu from scratch here. Now if you were going to do this kind of website for yourself or for a client, of course you would go ahead and create another menu as needed for that client. But what I'm going to do just for the look of the project is I'm going to go back to the widgets. I'm going to place the navigation menu here. You can see that does it show up? There we go. You can see that the formatting is not the formatting that we want, and I want to copy the formatting of the menu at the top. So what I'm going to do is scroll to the top. You will see here it says edit header. I'm going to click on edit header, save these changes so that they don't get messed up. And once that loads, I'm going to click here on any menu item, right click, and copy. Now I'm going to go back. Actually, go ahead and press update so we update it. Even though I didn't change anything, just go ahead and press update just to be safe. And I'm going to click here on this yellow indicator, says edit footer, which is where we were before. And it's going to switch back to being able to edit the footer. I'm going to go here where I inserted the navigation menu, right click and paste style. And now we have the menu styled exactly like it's styled at the top. And that's exactly what I wanted. Instead of having to go through all that process all over again, I just wanted to do a quick little something there just to have something on the bottom. Now, obviously, like I said, again, you know, in a real case, you would have a separate menu here because it doesn't make sense to have the same menu at the top and the bottom when you have a sticky header. But this is just for the look of it. And I think this is what completes the footer at this point. So now we're going to go ahead and click publish and add this footer to the rest of the website. So I click publish, adding the condition is already set default to the entire site. That's exactly what I want. I'm going to save and close. All right, that's saved. Now I'm just going to open up this other window here and go to visit site. And here we have that beautiful header that we created previously, scrolling through, and we have this awesome footer that we just created today. So that will finish off this portion of the tutorial. And the next thing that we'll do, and the very last touch that we'll do, now I'm back in my WordPress dashboard, and I'm going to go to the media and add new so that I can add the new graphic that I just created. Now that that's added, let's go back to Elementor. And I'm going to go to that top section underneath the header. And I'm going to set a CSS class, CSS ID, and I'm going to name that CSID top. So this is going to act like an anchor point for the graphic that we just created. Now I'm going to scroll down to the bottom section, to the footer. And we're going to update footer. And now I'm going to add the image that we just added to the image library. So I'm going to add that scroll to top image. Now I'm going to add a custom URL, and it will be #TOP, and update. Now when we click on this image, it will scroll the screen right up to the top. Okay, we're not quite done yet. Now let's go ahead and reposition the scroll to top button. And I'm going to create a new section with 3 columns. And I'm going to move this copyright image to the center. And I'm going to move the scroll to top to the right. And then we're going to add a black background. Now I'm going to adjust the column widths to push the scroll to top button all the way to the right. And I'm going to set that column width at 10%, and then the leftmost column to 10%. And this is looking better, but I want the scroll to top button to be all the way over. So I'm going to go back to that section, and I'm going to make sure that the content width is at full width, and that gives me the result that I want. Now we're going to add a motion effect, and we're going to make sure that this button is a sticky button at the bottom. So now you can see when we scroll up that the button remains fixed to the bottom of the screen. And one last touch, we're going to add a motion effect to the scroll to top button. So go back to Advanced, Motion Effects. I'm just going to remove the mobile option for now. And then we're going to go to Animation Entrance and then Fade. Fade in up, slow. And then we're going to increase the duration to 2500. Going to update. And now let's preview what that looks like. So I'm going to go back to the home page and start scrolling, and you'll see the button enter in from the bottom. And let's try that one more time just for good measure. So now you can really see as you scroll down that the button slowly emerges from the bottom of the screen.